Hey, welcome back to Authorpreneurs HQ. With me today is somebody from the Great White North. If you don't know it, Canada, eh? We love these people. They are so much fun to be with. Melody and I met for the 99 Author Project. It was a book that I was writing. She was kind enough to be a part of that. But I really want to talk about her mission, which her mission is all about empowering you so that you can share your stories. And she has a wonderful program called, it's kind of all underneath the umbrella of Author Nation. But she also has the book success blueprint, and she has the step-by-step roadmap to help you write your book. And what I like is she also has crafted it so that it's got game boards and milestones. You got actionable tips. You have spreadsheets. You have checklists. Just depends on your personality. Melody has put it together to help you with that. And the other thing is she's like me. We have a moral compass. When it comes to our authors, we're not going to ask you to pull money out of your retirement plan to pay for our programs. We're going to ask you to make money while we're doing it. That's our whole focus. So Melody, first of all, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Janine, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. And so I would love if you would chat with me a moment about when authors begin to write their book and they have a purpose and they have a kind of a goal, or they have an idea of an outline. Talk to us a little bit about how you have that blueprint for them, but at the same time, they need to be making money as they're moving along. So kind of weave that story for us together.
Yeah. So I think the first thing I'll say is when people come to me and they say, I'm just starting a business and somebody told me I should write a book. What I usually say is a book is not a short-term money maker. So you're not going to start writing a book today and make money tomorrow. So we want to find ways for you to make money while you're writing the book to pay for the writing of the book, rather than you making a large investment and then, not knowing what the outcome will be. So I want to say that first and foremost, because I see a lot of people out there going, start a business by writing a book. And I actually, as someone who helps people write books, unless there's a really good reason to do that, I don't recommend it. So start your business, start making money. And then when you're ready, come to me and then start writing your book. That's my very first piece of advice, Janine, to be honest with you. And so
you see why I love this woman, people. This is why I love this woman. She speaks my language. Okay, moving on to your next point. Sorry to interrupt.
Absolutely. So when we think about making money, by the time people come to me, I want them to have a working business, something where they're making money, whether it's through speaking or coaching or courses or products or another type of service. They have something going and they're ready to take that and enhance it with a book. And they're not writing a book necessarily as a product I'm going to sell for $20, but they're writing it as something they can integrate into their business. For example, a speaker can come off stage and people who come up and, oh, I loved your talk. It's like, fabulous. Give me your email. I'll give you a copy of my ebook. And now you can build a relationship. So for me, books are content. And yes, you can sell them as a product, but they are content that you can use to further enhance your business, enhance the experience of your clients, and also acquire new clients. Mm-hmm. And so I know I haven't answered like how to make money, but the how to make money is let's figure out the business, mm-hmm. how the business makes money, and then let's add the book into it. That's essentially my best answer for that.
And that's what I love hearing from people, because that's really how you have to go about integrating it. Gone are the days where books are money makers because the profit margin is just too low. It's a minimum viable product, but that may be if you're charging $25, $30, maybe $40, depending upon if it's softcover or hardcover. But if you don't mind, share with the audience just a little bit about why you do what you do, because I find that story lovely.
Yeah. So I guess there are actually a lot of reasons I do what I do, but I've been around books all my life. Story is an integral part of my life. And I have this deep belief that when we are in charge of our own stories, then we are in charge of our lives. And we often, as growing up, we're told what our stories are, right? We're told who we are, we're told what our stories are, and we often adopt those. And at some point, I love seeing people step out of that and saying, okay, I need to rewrite my story with me as the hero and me as the narrator. I get to tell my own story, and I get to put myself in the hero place. And so this is one reason I like memoir writers. Love them, because that's what they're doing. They're going through this process. So I think one of my strong pieces is just the absolute love of story, the love of books. And I also love language. I love alliteration. I love poetry. I love language as well. And so that's why I do what I do. That initial, Author Nation is one of the top 10 places to come to write a book. And we are best known for early stage nonfiction, that by a book linker. And so that's kind of, what I do is that early stage. That's where my sweet spot is, right? To get you that book ready. Yeah.
And I'm glad you shared all that with us, because one of the things that I definitely want to share with people is, if you are being inspired to write a book, that's because there is a reader out there looking for the answers that your book is going to give. And it's very important that you share that story. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, there's so many ways. I can go on YouTube, I can go on Facebook and all that. Well, and that's where I like to talk a little bit about legacy. So you were talking about your memoir clients. Talk to us a little bit about the transformation that a person goes through when they're writing a book that's kind of bound up into legacy a bit.
Yeah. And so it's interesting, because what I always say is your first draft of your memoir is for you and you only. That's where you get to say whatever you want to say. You can badmouth everyone else. You can do whatever you need. Just get it out, work through it. It's kind of like a healing manuscript, right? It's what you're doing. And then if you decide you want to publish it, because you don't have to. This is the other thing. I'm writing my memoir, therefore I have to publish it. No, you're writing a memoir. You don't have to publish it. You can just write it, and it can be this beautiful process of personal growth and understanding and transformation. Just that alone, you don't need to publish it. But if you do decide to publish it, then you start writing it for the reader. And this is where you can't say all of those things anymore. Now we're talking about growth. We're talking about taking responsibility. We're talking about, saying what's true without blaming the world. And so I really do love memoir, but those two they're very different. That writing memoir for yourself and writing memoir for readers, very, very different experiences. But writing a memoir can be absolutely transformational, both the writing for yourself and then writing for a reader. It's like, what do I want people to see in my growth? Who do I want people to see at the end of the story? Not at the beginning, but who do I want people to see at the end of the story? Not someone who's angry and vindictive and victim but I want to see someone who's grown and who's stronger and who shows the reader a path that they can now move through towards self-improvement.
And so it may sound like it's really heavy stuff that Melody's talking about, and it is. But the thing that's amazing is the fact that she brings gameplay into a lot of what she does. So when Booklinker was giving her that award, one of the things they were talking about was the use of game boards. So talk to us. How did that come into being for what you do with your blueprint?
Yes. So sometimes people come in and they've heard all these stories about, writing a book, it's such a hard experience and it'll take forever. And I want people to, whatever they happen to be doing, I want them to enjoy the journey. I hike, and a while ago I was hiking this really big, steep mountain, and I met a woman who, she was stopping, and we chatted, and she said, I'm still going. And I looked at her and I said, enjoy the journey, just one step at a time, and enjoy the journey. And she went, oh, yeah, because you could tell that she was feeling heavy. And
Right.
Sometimes people writing books are feeling that way. And so the game board and the milestones and the different stages, and it's meant to bring some light to the process so that you can enjoy it. And each stage, there are 5 stages. Each stage has a series of milestones. Each milestone has a series of action steps. And so you know exactly what you need to do. And, step 1, step 2, step 3, action steps are things you should be able to do in an afternoon, not more than that. If it's more than that, then I try to break it down even more so that you can say, I work on my book every Thursday afternoon. And then you can go to the action steps and say, okay, I can do these 2 action steps today. And that way, no matter if your book takes you a month or 3 months or 3 years or whatever it happens to be, you've got this beautiful laid out plan for you, and you get to have fun. So whenever you finish a stage, you let me know, I give you a badge, because you get the badge, and then you're in because the other side is the community. And so we support each other. So you can see like, oh, so-and-so has this badge and so has that badge, and you get to support each other. And also the badges show you who is in the same stage as you. So you can see who's in that same stage, and maybe I should contact them, and maybe we can work together and help each other. So there's lots of pieces to the game boards and the milestones and that and in how they work, right? And I've just implemented this year, and so we're still building it out, because each milestone will also have a set of resources to go with it as well. So that'll be built out over the next several months.
So Melody is one of those people who I trust to send somebody who says, this is a project I have, and especially if they feel the weight of that message. A lot of times our authors will have a heavy message that they want to share with the world. And I love it that Melody is there to kind of lighten the load for them a bit. You'll see Melody's contact information below this video. And also she has some freebies for us. She does a lot of free. Any last piece of advice you'd like to give our authors before we go, my dear?
Just enjoy the journey, right? You know, and you help with promotion, and, you know, people say, well, I want to be on podcasts, and well, it's about one step at a time, and getting the support, and, you know, tweaking things until it becomes successful for you, because you're not going to go on one podcast and sell 1 million books, right?
That would be great.
It's not going to happen. But if you get the support, right? If you have a mentor and someone who knows what you're doing, and you know, podcast, I talk about podcasts because I know, Janine, you do that, and you get support, and you learn how to be a good guest, and then you learn how to promote it out, and then you tweak and tweak. It can be successful, but it's not a, you know, oh, this is so hard. It's like, let me play, let me be curious, what can work? That's my best advice.
And I highly recommend that you go onto YouTube and check out Author Nation on YouTube. That's how Melody and I met, was through our different YouTube channels. And so thank you so much for listening to us. And we'll be back with our next episode of Authorpreneur HQ after this.
Thank you.